A candle has three main parts, starting with the wax, specifically paraffin wax, which acts as the fuel. It is typically composed of hydrocarbons. The wick is the string in the middle that absorbs the melted wax, while fragrance and color additives are the chemicals added to provide the scent and color. When you light a candle, the heat melts the wax. The melted wax moves up the wick, and finally, the wax turns into gas and vapor. The wax vapor reacts with oxygen in the air. This reaction is called combustion, producing heat and light, which is exactly what we see in these candles. Why don't scientists trust atoms? It is because they make up everything in the universe, and you really just cannot rely on people who make up everything. When you combine vinegar and acid with baking soda, a base, you create a chemical reaction that releases carbon dioxide gas, which causes those instant fizzy bubbles. Soap works by using molecules that have two ends. The hydrophobic end latches onto oil and dirt, while the hydrophilic end connects to water. Lemons taste sour primarily because they contain high levels of citric acid. When this acid hits your tongue, the hydrogen ions trigger receptors that iron rusts when it meets oxygen and water in a chemical process called oxidation. The oxygen atoms combine with the iron, and moisture seeds. Ever wonder why toothpaste feels so fresh? It is because of ingredients like menthol, which activate cold-sensitive receptors in your mouth, tricking your brain into feeling that cool, refreshing sensation. When alcohol touches your skin, it absorbs your body heat to turn into vapor. Because alcohol evaporates much faster than water, it pulls heat away from you quickly, creating that sudden. Ever wonder why milk spoils so fast on the counter? It is all about the bacteria that love the warmth. Keep your milk cold to stop the growth and keep it fresh for longer. What scored is this? Why do clothes dry faster under the sun? Well, heat speeds up the evaporation process, turning water into vapor much quicker than. Why does rice spoil quickly? It is because bacteria love moisture and warmth. If you leave cooked rice at room temperature, it becomes a literal party. Why don't scientists trust atoms anymore? I honestly have no idea why. Because they make up everything in the universe, it is honestly pretty funny. Why does chocolate melt so easily in your hands? It is because the cocoa butter inside has a low melting point that is very close to your body temperature. Science can definitely make a very delicious mess.
Why did the corn join the army?
Because it wanted to be a kernel.
A popcorn kernel has three main parts: the pericarp, which is the hard outer shell, the endosperm, which is the soft starchy inside, and the water trapped inside. Think of it like this: heat energy travels directly from the hot surface of your stove or pan and moves right into that little popcorn kernel until it pops. Why did the water stop talking to the ice cube? Because it couldn't handle the pressure of such a drastic change in its state of mind. Chemical reactions occur when butter, oil, sugar, or flavorings are added, as these ingredients transform the molecular structure of the dish to create complex and delicious new flavors. Additional chemical reactions can occur during this process, potentially creating a variety of side effects that we should carefully observe and document for our final research report. Popcorn is also connected to food chemistry because scientists study how the expansion of starch, pressure inside the kernel, and the exact moisture content. Chocolate melting is a great example of chemistry because it involves heat, which causes the solid particles to move faster and eventually transform into a liquid state. But it is made from a complex mixture of ingredients that react to temperature changes, so the consistency will actually shift depending on how warm or cool the environment is at any given moment. Heat transfer is fascinating because energy is always on the move. When you hold this chocolate bar, thermal energy naturally flows from your warm handles. As temperature rises, the kinetic energy increases, which causes molecules to move faster and spread apart, Why did the chocolate bar go to the doctor? Because it was feeling a little bit soft and started to melt under all that pressure. You know, I once tried to teach my chocolate bar how to melt in the sun, but it just stayed solid until I realized it needed a little bit of heat to really change its state. You know, chocolate is a lot like life because it is all about the chemistry of those fat crystals. Why did the chocolate bar get so stressed out? Because chocolate is also connected to food science and applied chemistry. Scientists carefully control the temperature, moisture, and chemical composition during process. To achieve the perfect snap and glossy finish in chocolate production, you have to carefully control the temperature during a process we call tempering, which stabilizes the cocoa butter.
The winner takes it!